What happens after life? What is there when our journey on Earth finishes? For the ancient Greeks, it was not empty. It was a kingdom, a huge kingdom covered in shadow. A god ruled it. People whispered his name, but rarely said it out loud. He was a god of silence, a god of the end, a god you could not see. This is the story of Hades. He is not the devil from later stories. He is not an evil power that many people think he is. He was one of three great brothers. They took control of the universe. He was a king. His kingdom, the Underworld, was very important for the universe. It was as important as the bright sky of Zeus or the moving seas of Poseidon. People often misunderstand him. They often forget him. He is the god of the Underworld. His story includes duty, justice, and a love that changed the seasons. Come with us. We will go deep into Greek myths. We will find the full, true story of Hades, and we will see the real, complex god who ruled over all the dead. This is Hades, the forgotten god of the Underworld. If you find forgotten gods like Hades fascinating, give this video a like and subscribe for more ancient legends. Our story does not start on Mount Olympus. It starts in an older, more basic time. The powerful Titans ruled this age. They were huge beings with great power. They shaped the new world. Cronus was their king. He took power from his own father, Uranus, but his win came with a scary prophecy. His own children would fight him, just like he fought his father. Cronus was very afraid. He did a terrible thing. To stop fate, he decided his children would not live. Each time his wife, Rhea, had a divine child, he swallowed the baby whole. Hades was born in this scary time. He and his sisters Hestia, Demeter, and Hera, and his brother Poseidon were trapped inside their father. It was a dark, quiet start for the future king of the Dark Kingdom. Only Zeus, the youngest, was saved. Rhea was clever and hid him so he could grow up in secret. Years went by. Zeus grew up in secret and became a strong god. He came back to fight Cronus. He made Cronus spit out his swallowed children. Hades came out of that living jail. He was not a helpless baby anymore. He was a powerful god. His time in darkness made his heart strong. He was ready for war. This started the Titanomachy. It was a huge war for control of the universe. It lasted for 10 long years. The young Olympian gods fought the Titans. The Cyclopes and the Hundred-Handers helped them. Hades got an important gift from the Cyclopes, the Helm of Darkness. This cap made him invisible. Hades used it to move unseen and attack his enemies. He was a hidden, powerful force. They finally won the hard war. The powerful Titans lost. Their rule ended. They were locked up deep in Tartarus. The new gods could now claim the universe. The three winning brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, agreed to share what they won. They did not divide it by strength or age. They drew lots to be fair. Zeus got the longest straw. He claimed the big heavens. He would rule over gods and humans. Poseidon got the huge, wild seas. His power was in every wave. Hades got the third, most mysterious part, the large, unseen kingdom under the earth. It was the kingdom of shadows, the last place for all human souls, the Underworld. A new king for a new forever kingdom. His rule was starting. The journey started at the river Styx. Oaths made on this river could not be broken. Its waters were black and scary. Here, souls waited to cross. Charon, the old, quiet boatman, took them across. He charged 1 coin, an obol. Sad relatives put it in the dead person's mouth. Without the coins, souls had to wander the riverbanks for 100 years. Past the Styx were the gates of Hades' kingdom. The scariest guard watched them, Cerberus. He was a monster dog with 3 heads. His bark sounded like loud metal. Cerberus made sure the dead stayed in. He also made sure no living person came in without permission. Inside these gates, the underworld had different areas. The biggest was the Asphodel Meadows. Here, the souls of normal people wandered. These people were not very good or very bad in life. They were like weak, fluttering ghosts. They looked like they did in life, but they were not really aware. Their existence was like a faint memory of life. But good people, heroes, and those the gods liked had a different end. Elysium, or the Elysian Fields, was a paradise. It was a land where it was always spring. The blessed souls lived there in peace and happiness. They had no work or sadness. And far below the common land of the dead, deeper than the deepest hole, was Tartarus. This was the pit of pain. It was a prison for very bad people. These people had done terrible things to gods or humans. The defeated titans were also locked up here. Their power was gone. Their fight was over. Between these realms of reward and punishment stood the three judges of the dead, Minos, Rhadamanthus, and Iacchus. These wise figures reviewed each soul's life. They decided where each person would go. Hades did not judge alone. He was part of a fair legal system. The judges helped separate those who deserved paradise from those who deserved punishment. This showed that the underworld was not just about fear, but about justice. Hades ruled over this whole large kingdom. He was not a mean ruler who wanted to cause pain. He was a strict and fair king. His main job was to keep the living and the dead separate. He made sure souls who came to his kingdom did not leave without his okay. He followed cosmic law. He kept balance. Hades did not bring death. That was the job of Thanatos. Hades ruled after. He was not the reaper. He was the judge. This is an important difference that many people still mix up today. He was Idoneus, the unseen one. His decisions were final. His laws had to be obeyed. People who loved life were afraid of him. But his rule was important. He made sure that life, then death, then the afterlife happened without problems. His kingdom was dark, but it was an orderly kingdom. But even with all his power, the king of the underworld was alone. His kingdom had quiet ghosts. His friends were serious dark gods. What did this king need in his life? He needed a queen to share his throne, and maybe his loneliness. Hades had great power. He ruled his huge kingdom with complete authority. But he was alone. His brothers on Olympus enjoyed eternal light and happy lives. But he ruled the quiet ghosts. He lived a constant watch in the darkness. He wanted a queen. He wanted a partner to share his black throne. He wanted someone to bring a different feel to the echoing halls of his underground palace. Someone to share the work and the glory of ruling the underworld. He looked, or maybe wished, towards the world above. He looked at Persephone, also called Kor, the maiden. She was the daughter of his brother Zeus and his sister Demeter, the goddess of farming. Persephone was like spring itself. She was new life. Her laugh was like birds singing. One day, Persephone was picking flowers in a field. Suddenly, the earth opened up. A big hole appeared. Hades came out from the hole in his dark chariot. Some stories say Zeus agreed to this marriage because he knew Demeter would say no. In a moment, the king of the underworld grabbed the scared maiden. He took her away to his dark kingdom. What do you think? Was it love or kidnapping? Let us know in the comments. Demeter found out her daughter was gone. Her sadness was huge. She was the goddess of the harvest. In her sadness, she stopped doing her work. Plants died, crops failed. A terrible hunger spread across the world. The happy earth became cold and empty because of a mother's sadness. The cries of hungry people reached Zeus on Mount Olympus. He felt sorry for them. Or maybe Demeter's constant begging and threats made him act. He knew he had to do something. He sent Hermes, the fast messenger, to the underworld. Hermes had a message. Persephone must go back to her mother. Hades got Zeus's message. He would obey. But the king of the underworld was wise, or maybe clever. Before Persephone left, he offered her a pomegranate. It was a fruit from his kingdom. This was not the first time Hades had shown interest in love. Before Persephone, he had been close to a nymph named Minthe. But when Persephone became queen, she grew jealous of this past relationship. She turned Minthe into the sweet-smelling mint plant. This plant became a symbol of the underworld. It showed that even in the land of the dead, new life could grow. It also showed that Persephone was not just a victim. She had her own power and strong feelings. Persephone ate a few of the sweet, red seeds. Maybe she knew, maybe not. This simple act tied her to the underworld by ancient law. She had eaten the food of the dead, so she could not completely leave its king or his kingdom. So they made a deal. This deal would always connect the world of the living and the world of the dead. Persephone would spend 2/3 of the year with her mother, Demeter, on Earth. During this time, the world would be happy with spring and summer. Fields would grow food. Life would be good. But for the other 1/3 of the year, she would go back to Hades. She would rule with him as queen of the underworld. When she went down, autumn and winter came. The earth would sleep and be sad that she was gone. This myth of Hades and Persephone explained the changing seasons to the ancient Greeks. Their marriage started with a kidnapping, but it became one of the strongest partnerships in Greek myths. Persephone was first an unwilling bride, but she grew into her role, becoming a powerful and respected queen of the dead. She often showed more kindness than her husband, a balance to his stern rule. What began as abduction slowly became a shared throne. Cold beginnings thawed into reluctant partnership, and then into a unique understanding. And Hades, the lonely king, finally had his queen. They shared a throne in his huge, dark kingdom. The underworld now had its queen. But humans and heroes would test their rule. They dared to go into the dark kingdom. They tried to beat death itself. No one could return from the underworld. Its borders were strongly guarded. Its laws had to be obeyed. But a few humans and heroes dared to go into Hades' kingdom. They were driven by love, by too much pride, or by a god's command. They wanted to challenge death itself, or to make a deal with its firm king. The most famous person to try this was Orpheus. He was a poet and musician. His music could charm wild animals, move stones, and even soften the hearts of gods. His dear wife, Eurydice, died from a snake bite. Orpheus was so sad. He decided to do something no one thought possible: go down to the land of the dead and bring her back. His sad music filled the quiet halls of Hades. It even moved the serious king and his queen. They agreed to his request. Eurydice could follow him back to the world of light. But there was one important rule. Orpheus must not look back at her until they were both completely out. Sadly, just as they reached the edge of life, he worried or longed for her too much. He turned. Eurydice, with a soft sigh, was pulled back into the shadows forever. A little hope was lost because of a moment of human weakness. Orpheus asked for kindness, but others received Hades' firm justice. Sisyphus was a very clever king. He tricked death 2 times. Because he fought the rules and tricked others, Hades punished him. He had to do useless work forever in Tartarus. He had to push a huge rock up a hill. But every time he almost reached the top, it rolled back down. It was an endless pain for making fun of the natural order. Near Sisyphus was Tantalus. He had badly offended the gods. Some say he offered his own son as food for them. His punishment was also terrible. He had to stand forever in a pool of cool water. But the water went down when he tried to drink. Branches full of ripe fruit hung above him, but they moved away when he tried to grab them. He was always hungry and always thirsty. It was a constant reminder of his bad actions. Even famous heroes could not escape Hades' judgment if they did wrong. The hero Theseus and his foolish friend Pirithous went on a very bold mission. They went down to the underworld to kidnap Persephone. Pirithous wanted to marry her. Hades, the lord of the dead, was not happy with this proud act. He acted friendly. He invited them to sit down. But the chairs were magic. They got stuck to the chairs because of their own foolish plan. The strong Heracles also tested Hades' kingdom. It was his 12th and last job. He had to capture Cerberus, the god dog. Some stories say Hades fought Heracles. Others say Hades gave permission. He was impressed by Heracles' strength and that the gods sent him. But Heracles could not use weapons. Heracles fought the scary beast and won. He brought Cerberus to the living world. This amazed everyone. While he was there, Heracles also freed Theseus from his stone chair. But Pirithous, who started the foolish plan, was usually left behind. He stayed in the Dark Kingdom forever. These myths tell us about love and loss. They tell about too much pride and punishment. They tell about brave actions. They show a complex picture of Hades. He was not just a jailer of souls. He was a divine judge. He enforced the rules of the universe. His meetings with humans were often strong warnings or important lessons. Another important story shows how Hades kept cosmic balance. Asclepius was a great healer. He was so skilled that he could bring people back from the dead. This power threatened the natural order. Hades complained to Zeus that Asclepius was stealing his subjects. Zeus agreed and struck Asclepius with a thunderbolt. This story shows that even divine healing must respect natural laws. Hades was not cruel. He was the guardian of necessary endings. Besides the big stories and meetings with humans, Hades was known for strong symbols and great powers. These showed his special place among the Olympian gods. These things were not just for show. They showed who he was and what he ruled. His most famous symbol was the Helm of Darkness, the Kunai. It made him, or anyone he let wear it, completely invisible. He carried a bident, a two-pointed staff. It was a sign of his power over his kingdom. Sometimes he had a simple staff or key. His loyal guard, the monster Cerberus, was a constant symbol that no one could escape the underworld. And he traveled the dark plains in a scary chariot. It was pulled by 4 black horses that could not die. They were as fast as a thought. The 5 rivers of the underworld were also important symbols. We already talked about the Styx, but another key river was Lethe, the river of forgetting. Souls who drank from Lethe forgot their past lives before being born again in new bodies. This idea of forgetting raises big questions about who we are. If our memories make us who we are, what happens when those memories are washed away? The Greeks believed this cycle of forgetting and rebirth was part of the soul's journey. Hades had the keys to his kingdom. He made sure its gates were closed to the living and that the dead could not escape. Even plants on earth were connected to him. The sad cypress tree, the delicate narcissus flower, always linked to his queen, the sweet-smelling mint, and the white poplar tree. Heroes who went to his kingdom and came back were said to wear its leaves. His powers were as big as his kingdom. Most importantly, he ruled all the dead. Every human soul, when it left life, became his subject. But he ruled more than that. He was also Platon, which means the rich one, or giver of wealth. This name showed that all the riches in the earth, gold, silver, valuable gems hidden deep down, were in his kingdom. This wealth was not just metals. It was also the rich earth that helped plants grow and feed people. This connection was stronger because he married Persephone, the goddess of plants. He was the god of hidden riches, both real and symbolic. He was the unseen power waiting under the ground. So, what did the ancient Greeks really think of this powerful god? They were definitely afraid of him. His name, Hades, means the unseen or the unseen one. People often did not say his name in daily life. Humans did not want his attention. They worried he might call them to his kingdom too soon. So they used other names: Pluton, the wealthy; Clymenos, the famous; Eubuleus, the good advisor. He did not have many temples or big festivals for him, not like his brothers and sisters on Olympus. Sacrifices to him were usually for underworld gods. They were done at night with black animals. Their blood was let into the earth to reach him. But Hades was not just feared. In some special religious practices called the Eleusinian Mysteries, he played an important role. These secret ceremonies focused on death, rebirth, and the afterlife. They showed that Hades was secretly revered, not just feared. He was connected to spiritual transformation, not just final judgment. Initiates of these mysteries gained special knowledge about the afterlife and were promised a better fate after death. This shows a deeper, more spiritual side to how Greeks viewed Hades and his realm. So, how does the story of a god like Hades end? In Greek myths, the gods do not really end like humans do. They live forever. Their stories are part of the universe they rule. We hear their echoes through time. Hades' story does not finish with a last battle or a big death. It continues with his rule forever. He stays the strong, steady king of the underworld. He is always there, a needed god in a changing universe. The Lord of the Dead, always doing his serious job. Over time, people have often changed his image. They painted him as a very scary figure, like early ideas of evil. But the Hades of the ancient Greeks was much more complex. He was not an evil god happily taking souls. He was not a tempter trying to make people bad. He was a guard of cosmic balance. He enforced natural law. He was serious? Yes. He was firm? For sure. His kingdom was a place of shadows and silence. But he was also fair. And in the few times the myths showed it, he could even show deep sympathy. He is the god of what must happen. He is the keeper of the final, deep secret that touches every life. Perhaps, like many figures who deal with difficult truths, he was more complex than feared. A necessary shadow in a world that craves only light. Hades, the god people often forget, the ruler of the unseen. He reminds us that even in darkness, there must be order. Even in silence, there can be great majesty. His story is rich and complex. It is a very important part of the amazing Greek myths. It shows how the ancient world deeply understood life, death, and the great powers that rule them. Without Hades, there is no end, and without endings, there is no beginning. He is the unseen, but through his myths, his effect, and his lasting presence in our memories, we know him now. What happens after life? The ancient Greeks answered, a kingdom, a throne, and a king. His name was Hades. If this story gave you a new view of Hades, share it with someone who still sees him as a villain. And subscribe for more untold myths from history's shadows.